Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, Sacred Geography, Shinrin Yoku, and Yurt Life, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Thursday, October 5th, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 2023. Glacial lake bursts in India, leaving 100 missing and 14 dead as Italy plans for mass evacuations as quakes continue around Campi Flegrei supervolcano. Keep calm, it's boom time. Storms and flooding across West Texas Wednesday night, so heed the warnings. And heavy rain Saturday in New Hampshire could be enhanced by remnants of Tropical Storm Philippe. So let's jump over to the tropical forecast. Tropical Storm Lydia is expected to dissipate and be a nothing burger, but disturbance number 1 is forecast to intensify and maybe make landfall on Mexico on Tuesday, which will be their lose day. This is the 10th, and it's looking like Cat 2 or Cat 3 tropical storm. Now, Tropical Storm Philippe is currently maximum sustained winds of 50 miles per hour as far as Advisory 50A, and all of the models are showing it making landfall on Maine. And as it makes its way towards Maine, it is going to wreak some havoc on Bermuda in the coming days and intensify as it passes Bermuda before it makes landfall 2 a.m. Sunday. So Bermuda will be in the crosshairs Friday afternoon, and then at the end of the weekend, Maine. And this storm is going to remain a tropical storm as it pushes its way into Canada, and on the tail end of that, very cold air is going to bring heavy snow to the region. Here is the forecast landfall, 983 millibars. It may even strengthen to a hurricane, Cat 1, before landfall there on down East Maine. And so heed the warning. And you can see that cold air and the snow on the back end there developing, and that is going to bomb out. 981. This will be a bomb cyclone up in Canada on Monday. Look at that snow, and look at how tight those isobars are. That is going to be a heavy record event for October in Ontario and Quebec. There is the snowfall totals. 16 inches in some regions being forecast over a large swath of Canada. So this could be a crippling storm to start the work week on the 12th, I believe that is. No, that will be Monday, October 9th. So headaches abound, and the snow will continue in the west. Throughout the models there, winter has begun. Shut up, Al. Get your hole. That's Al Gore, by the way. Locally, heavy rain possible along the western Gulf Coast. Heavy rain expected in New England late in the week. Locally, heavy rainfall is possible today along the western and north-central Gulf Coasts from organized showers and thunderstorms. On Friday into Saturday, heavy rain and flooding are expected in parts of the Northeast and New England from the arrival of a cold front and tropical moisture. Take a look at some of these warnings out currently. We've got freeze warnings, and freeze watches all over the upper Midwest. So heed the warnings, cover your sensitive plants, or bring them inside. Temperature crash for Europe. Climate models are wrong in the East Pacific, and we don't know why this cooling is happening. Well, it looks as if in the coming days, Europe is going to cool down quite significantly. This is a temperature anomaly map showing the temperature crash for Europe. So take the warning and be prepared. Glacial lake bursts in India, leaving 100 missing and 14 dead. This is something you can't prepare for. An absolute tragedy. We've seen multiple glacial lake outbursts this year cause tragedy around the world. And now more than 100 people are missing in India's northeast after heavy rain caused a glacial lake to burst, leading to flash floods which ripped through the Himalaya state of Sikkim Wednesday, killing at least 14 and washing away roads and bridges, according to the state government. A sudden cloudburst over Longnak Lake in the northern part of the state sent fast-moving torrents of water surging down the Tessa River in Sikkim's Lakan Valley, raising water levels 15 to 20 feet higher than normal. The Indian Army said in a statement, a cloudburst is a very sudden and destructive rainstorm. And then, well, the rest is history. A glacial lake burst, leaving 100 missing and 14 dead. Our prayers and thoughts go out to those in the region. Seismic update. A continued flurry of activity in Japan is, well, keeping allowing us to keep a close eye on this region for what is going on. Hopefully not a big event setting up here and a massive tsunami. That would be the worst case scenario, probably less than 5%. So that's good news. Overall, it is quiet across the world. Worldwide volcano news update. We've got Fuego, Ibu, Reventador, Mayon, Sangay, Nevado de Ruiz, and some significant puffs today. Sabancaya to 30,000 feet. Who knew? Now you do. Stromboli puffing, Popo to 22, Santo Huito to 15,000, Ubainas to 21,000, Sangay to 21,000, Nevado de Ruiz to 20,000, Fuego to 15, Mayon puffing and passing today, and many others. Now, good news, Astia volcano in central Iceland. The uplift, which has been ongoing for over a year now, seems to be leveling off. Now, this could mean two things. The magma is in place and it's about to go boom, or we're going into a quiet phase before another uplift and then an eruption scenario. So good news coming from Astia. Now, Italy plans for mass evacuations as quakes continue around the supervolcano Campi Flegrei. Campi Flegrei near Naples has been jolted by more than 1,100 earthquakes in the last month. And you can see the face on this resident. She is quite concerned. Now, Campi Flegrei has a total population more than 500,000. And the Italian government is planning for a possible mass evacuation of tens of thousands of people who live around Campi Flegrei supervolcano near Naples. The new measures, which include a scheme to check out the strength of buildings in the area after months of repeated earthquakes, will be discussed at cabinet meeting tomorrow, a government statement said. And for good measure, because if this blows, it is going to blow at VEI 3 or 4 in this area, directly in neighborhoods where people live. And the loss of life will be epic. So there is some good news. The seismic activity has quieted over the last 24 hours, but this has done that in the past, and it's followed by another uptick. So we'll keep a close eye on that, as there have only been a little more than a dozen quakes in the last 24 hours at Campi Flegrei. Space weather for October 6, 2023. The sun's been quiet. A little spattering of some small flares in the C range. Currently, X-ray flux at C1. We did have a low-level geomagnetic storm for 3 hours today. Nothing significant. G1 at KP5. And it looks like the 3-day geomagnetic forecast is looking at a little instability here. The Aurora forecast is poor, and the 3-day forecast is for instability, and we're not showing that there. Here, we could go up to KP7 by October 7th there, KP5 by October 7th. And we do have a large coronal hole that's coming in that could also bring us some space weather, but nothing significant to note. The ozone hole, however, is quite significant. The ozone hole over Antarctica has grown to the largest on record, according to scientists. Now, earlier this year, researchers said the ozone hole in the region was recovering, but they couldn't be further from the truth. Now, the size of the ozone fluctuates from August to October, typically reaching maximum depletion between mid-September and mid-October, which is now. And the hole is gigantic. Let's take a look at the modeling here from Sentinel 5P. And you can see the date here moving through. Massive ozone hole. Now, what is the reason for this? Well, it could be because we were at solar max, and some of the solar activity is causing depletion of the ozone hole. But there is some speculation that the unusual behavior of the ozone layer this year is a result of the Tonga underwater volcano eruption in January 2022. The immense amount of water vapor that was injected into the atmosphere likely just started reaching the South Polar region at the end of the 2022 ozone hole. And so the water vapor could have led to heightened formation of polar stratospheric clouds, allowing chlorofluorocarbons to react and accelerate the ozone depletion. Thanks, Hunga Tonga, already responsible for some of the biggest flooding events in over a century, now the largest ozone hole we've ever seen over Antarctica. All thanks to the 14% increase in stratospheric moisture thanks to the Hunga Tonga eruption. It's official. Scientists confirm what's inside the moon, and it's not cheese. But the moon does have a core. Holy macaroni. They don't know much about it, but according to this article and the paper, there is an inner and outer core on the moon, and that's a moon boom. Peak crude demand is fueling anger and argument in the world of oil, driving oil prices sky high, and that means more pain at the pump. It's been a war of words and numbers between two of the world's largest energy organizations, the International Energy Agency and OPEC, as they spar over the future of something crucial to crude producers' survival and peak oil demand. With the green energy agreements worldwide, this is literally going to crush societies. So, please be prepared for the worst. As the Biden administration bypasses 26 federal laws to build additional border wall in South Texas. This has everything to do with the fact that Joe Biden has no chance of being elected, so he's simply doing what Donald Trump would do because he is the favorite. Now, new research finds that ancient carbon in rocks release as much carbon dioxide as the world's volcanoes. And so maybe we should be taxing these rock outcrops. What do you think? Now, the reality is, if these rocks are outgassing as much CO2 as volcanoes, they still aren't causing warming because temperature and CO2 are not related. Well, they're not related in the way alarmists think they are. You see, because climate change alarmists think CO2 drives temperature, when in this graph you can clearly see that temperature drives CO2. And that is a boom. To knowledge. Please share this video as we are shadow banned and we need your help to grow. Become a Patreon, support the work we do. Be safe, we love you, and that is a boom. To carbon dioxide. Not driving temperature, but temperature driving carbon dioxide.